Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. Napoleon Hill, hello everyone, and welcome back to your channel. Do you agree with me that hard work beats talent every single time? It does not matter what your capabilities are. What matters is how you perform. What could have been nothing but an excuse. The results you produce are what you are graded upon. You must possess the determination to continue moving forward when you are under constant pressure. This is what makes a minority of people successful and the majority of people mediocre. Successful people know how to rise to the occasion when their best performance is needed the most. You have to be just like Michael Jordan. Whenever the game was on the line was exactly when he put on his best performances because he possessed a strong will to win. You must do the same when it comes to your business by remaining persistent and focused on accomplishing your goals. And today, we will delve into this topic.
Persistence is self-discipline in action. Your ability to persist in the face of all setbacks and temporary failures is essential to success in life. Napoleon Hill said, "Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel." The primary reason for success is persistence, and likewise, the primary reason for failure is lack of persistence or quitting too soon. There's a direct link between self-discipline and self-esteem. Each time you discipline yourself to do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not, your self-esteem increases. This is why there is a direct relationship between self-esteem and persistence. Each time you persist and force yourself to continue on, even when you feel like quitting, your self-esteem goes up. Each act of self-discipline strengthens every other act of self-discipline. Every act of persistence strengthens every other act of persistence. When you discipline yourself to persist over and over, you'll like and respect yourself more and more. You become stronger and more confident. Eventually, you become unstoppable. Persistence is its own reward. Every time you force yourself to persist on a task, whether it is large or small, you feel happier and better about yourself. When you go the extra mile and do more than you are paid for or more than is expected, your self-esteem goes up. You feel more powerful and in greater control of your life and your career. When you go the extra mile, you put yourself on the side of the angels. The primary difference between winners and losers in life is simple. Winners never quit, and quitters never win.
Right, persistence is an essential factor in the procedure of transmuting desire into its monetary equivalent. The basis of persistence is the power of will. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, make an irresistible pair. Men who accumulate great fortunes are generally known as cold-blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they are misunderstood. What they have is willpower, which they mix with persistence and place back of their desires to ensure the attainment of their objectives. Henry Ford has been generally misunderstood to be ruthless and cold-blooded. This misconception grew out of Ford's habit of following through in all of his plans with persistence. The majority of people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard and give up at the first sign of opposition or misfortune. A few carry on despite all opposition until they attain their goal. These few are the Fords, Carnegies, Rockefellers, and Edisons. There may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. If you have ever experienced a nightmare, you will realize the value of persistence. You are lying in bed, half awake, with a feeling that you are about to smother. You are unable to turn over or to move a muscle. You realize that you must begin to regain control over your muscles. Through persistent effort of willpower, you finally manage to move the fingers of one hand. By continuing to move your fingers, you extend your control to the muscles of one arm until you can lift it. Then you gain control of the other arm. In the same manner, you finally gain control over the muscles of one leg and then extend it to the other leg. Then, with one supreme effort of will, you regain complete control over your muscular system and snap. The trick has been turned step by step. You may find it necessary to snap out of your mental inertia through a similar procedure.
You can increase your ability to persist by talking to yourself positively. Say these words: I am unstoppable before you begin any major undertaking. Pre-program yourself by telling yourself, I never give up. Before you can achieve anything worthwhile in life, you have to pass the persistence test. This is usually a snap quiz sprung on you unexpectedly with no warning. You suddenly face a major setback, problem, temporary failure, or even a complete disaster. When this happens, remind yourself that this is the testing time. This is when you demonstrate what you are really made of. This is when you show yourself and others the strength of your character and your true determination to succeed. Your ability to respond effectively to setbacks, your level of responsibility, is the measure of your readiness to succeed. When you experience a major setback or a problem, you will feel temporarily stunned. This feeling is very much like a punch in the emotional solar plexus. You'll be stopped for a few seconds or a few minutes. During this period, you'll often feel discouraged or experience self-pity. You will say, why me? However, it is not how far you fall that counts, but rather how high you bounce. Your aim is to bounce back as quickly as possible. Resilience in the face of unexpected reversals is vital to long-term success. I will lay me down to bleed a while and then rise and fight again. Don't be surprised, shocked, or set back. When things go wrong, your best laid plans will often fall apart. Instead, expect disappointments and setbacks as a part of life. Take a deep breath, pick up the pieces, and continue onward. Optimism gives you resilience, the most important quality you need for success and persistence. Optimism is a boundless confidence in yourself and your ability to ultimately succeed. To remain optimistic, you must control and discipline your thinking. When things go wrong, refuse to feel sorry for yourself. Remember, you are not a victim. You are an adult, and you are in charge of your own life. You are doing what you have freely chosen to do. Setbacks come with the territory. They are merely speed bumps on the road to success. Refuse to blame others or make excuses. When you complain or blame other people, it just makes you feel sound petty and small. And what's worse, it takes away your personal power. Whenever you criticize or complain, it makes you feel weaker and reduces your ability to deal effectively with the situation. Instead, create every setback by repeating, I look for the reasons why you're responsible for what happened, rather than trying to pass on the blame to other people. No excuses. Be proactive versus reactive. We still have to focus on the solution and what can be done now, rather than on what happened and who's to blame. Think in terms of the actions you can take to resolve the situation rather than what went wrong and who's to blame. You have to remain optimistic. Look for the good in every situation. When you look for something good, you will always find something good. Furthermore, while you're looking for something good, because your conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time, you'll automatically be positive, optimistic, and back in full control.
Before success comes in any man's life, you're sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is quit. That is exactly what the majority of men do. The world is full of those who tried to get out of the doldrums and, meeting with difficulty and repeated turndowns, retreated back to the big crowd. What's really amazing are the number who've made a sortie into a business of their own and failing and fallen back never to try again. Why should succeeding at a business of one's own be easier than learning to sky or play the piano? We're likely to fail at first. It's part of the learning process. But it's no reason to give up. We learn something important from every failure. It's staying with it that separates the winners from the losers. And staying with it applies to so much that is good and helpful in life. Failures aren't the end of the world. Far from it. If they were, no human being would ever learn to walk, speak, ride a bicycle, or obtain an education. We take early failures for granted in so many things. Yet when we attempt something as adults, something as difficult as going into business, we become so self-conscious, so concerned about what our friends and acquaintances might think.
One more thing to remember. Don't spend time with people who tend to zap your energy. Avoid energy vampires. Instead, spend time with people who realize that most of the things you try will not work the first time, and you'll not succeed, at least not the way you expected in more than 90 of businesses. The business succeeds once it started in an area completely different from what the founders thought when they began. But the most important thing is that you launch and that you keep moving and you keep learning. You'll constantly change direction as you get new information. What seemed like a great idea may not work, so you have to be with people who recognize that this is the way the world works. People say, well, I tried it, didn't work. Well, how many times did you try it? Well, I tried it once. No, it's 10 or 20 times. Wow. There was a great interview on the David Susskind show some years ago. They had 4 self-made millionaires, all under the age of 30, and they asked them during the first part of the show, how many different businesses have you been in before you found the one where you became a millionaire? So at the commercial break, they sat down and calculated. They came back after the break, and the average was 17. They'd been in 17 businesses on average, some more, some less, before they found the right one. So the question I always ask is, did they fail 16 times and then only succeed on the 17th? And everybody suddenly realizes, well, no, they didn't fail. They learned, which made the 17th possible. Now, people have to have that attitude, and the people around you have to have that attitude, because it's only about one of people who have the ability to really take entrepreneurial risk. Entrepreneurial risks. 99s of the population can work for a business once it's established. Only ones have the courage and the ability to actually make the entrepreneurial breakthroughs that create those jobs. Persistence and perseverance is what counts indeed.
If you found value in this video and enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and sharing it with your friends. We also welcome and encourage open discussions, so feel free to share your thoughts about the topic in the comments section below.